Hi everyone, it's Robin Norgren with faithandcreativity.com and creating some videos for you as well as for the My Creative Peace Creativity Facilitator program. And we are going to be trying something that I call Whimsy on Wood. I go to my local Home Depot or home improvement store, and what they have, at least in our area, is they have a section of lumber and wood that is not usable for whatever reason or is returned. They call it the cull area, C-U-L-L. And in that area, you can get these pieces of wood for 60-70% off, and then usually they will cut it down to size for you. For anywhere from 25 to 50 cents a cut, so deeply discounted. If you happen to be somewhere where there is some lumber yard or something, I would say go by there and see if they have any discards that you'd want to pick up. I always try to keep wood on hand because personally I prefer working on wood more than I prefer working on canvas. I don't even know why. I think mostly it's just about the feel of the wood, and so I enjoy that, and I hope you're enjoying working on that too. So anyway, I wanted to do something on wood. I've always seen on Pinterest, so I have a couple of copies of what I've seen on Pinterest, of people who take the wood and they cover it with newspaper. And you don't have to be confined to wood. You can also do it on canvas, and you can do it on just regular paper. But I just thought for this project, I was going to go ahead and use wood. So these are just what I'm going to be inspired by. So I'm not necessarily going to copy what I see here, but I like the feel of them and I like the colors that I see, so I'm going to try to emulate that on the wood. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. You're going to take your piece of wood and you're going to begin to add these pieces of book paper to the back. I got started a little bit so you could see what it looks like. So I just take out my pages, and you can be a little bit more methodical about it if you want. I find just kind of doing it randomly and then looking later to see what pokes out is just as fun as being more methodical initially, but you do whatever is enjoyable to you. So I'll take a piece of paper. You don't have to necessarily line it up perfectly so that they're all matching up. It's really just about how you want to place it on the paper. So I'm going to take my Mod Podge. Today I'm going to actually use a paintbrush, whereas in another project I just use my fingers. And you just go ahead and spread it on the back. And then place it wherever you'd like to place it. So I will usually take the front part of the paper as well and wipe over it with the Mod Podge. I also want to make sure there's no bubbling going on. All right. So go ahead and get started, and I'll meet back with you once we have this completely finished. As I'm putting this on, I'm looking to see if maybe I do want to keep some of the wood exposed, and that is totally up to you if you want to do that. Feel free as well to tear your pieces of paper or to overlap them. Now I'm looking at this and I see this word up here, oppress, and I'm not so sure if I want that on a whimsy piece of paper, so I'm probably going to cover that word up. Kind of interesting when you just randomly cut pieces of paper, what ends up showing up. Here, I'll go ahead and tear it. So some books have kind of a yellowing color to them, while others have that pure white paper. And it's up to you if you prefer to just use one versus the other or kind of mix it up. Found a paper that has a psalm on it. It says, "Search me, O God." have to be a little bit more mindful with this paper, this almost like tissue paper, but as you can see, it's right over there. So I'm probably going to be very purposeful about what I put around there. Now, hopefully I'll remember that. All right. I did a class with some teenagers, and I wasn't sure what they were going to feel about having pages from the Bible or from classics on there. And it's very interesting. Like I said, it's all about what the age group is. I don't think some younger kids may or may not have noticed. The teens noticed right away. And it was funny because there was one in the group who was very quiet, didn't really say anything, just kind of sat down and worked on hers the whole time. Actually didn't put anything on it except for the paper, and her friends around her kept trying to encourage her to paint something on top of it, and she just didn't seem interested. And I, kind of gently asked her if is there anything I could help her with, and she didn't seem to want to engage. So I'm very mindful of that. Not everyone wants to engage you when they're in your class. And so I, let her finish what she was doing. And it was so funny because as they were getting ready to leave and we were packing up, one of her friends was looking at her, at what she'd put together on her board. And she kept saying, "Oh, God, 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 God." And apparently the girl had found all the pages that had the word God on them and had structured her board so that she could see the word God flowing throughout all of the pages. And it was just about the coolest thing. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Just reminding you of, you don't know what people are needing or coming in with when they come to your class or come to be a part of an art group, and that your job as a facilitator is just to keep the vessel open for safety and security, and not necessarily to come in as an expert, but to just be there as kind of a catalyst to let people process through their art the way they need to. So I see this word detachment here. That's interesting. I don't know whether or not I'm going to keep that or not. But for right now, this is I'm pretty comfortable with where this looks right now. So of course we've got to let it dry. As you can see, I've left some of the bubbles in. I actually like that look. I think it lends itself to the idea of it being on wood. And so I think it'll look nice when we start to design over it. All right, so we're going to let this go ahead and dry. Of course, we always have the hair dryer if need be. But what we're going to do now is we're going to start to look through our inspiring papers and also look at some photographs and see where we want to go so that we can start drawing the base for it onto our board. So I'm looking at these right now. This one has a picture of a house, but also in here, I'm going to put a link to where I found these on the website I found these on, because this blog is just amazing. It looks like she has hearts on her pillows, and then there's a little chicken on there, a little bird, which is pretty sweet. Looks like on her table she has flowers. On this one, there's little houses. Flowers again. I really love that little style of flower. Looks like she has a color wheel and a house, another chicken. And this one has a house with a bird on it, and again, another fun flower. So, the next decision you need to make is whether or not you want to work the long way on your board, or if you want to work this way. And again, this is something I probably should have mentioned up front. If you're going to work this way, you might want to turn all the words in the direction that you want to work. So silly me, I should have mentioned that. So since I've already put it on this way, I will go ahead and work on it this way. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get a pencil. I prefer to draw out in pencil first and then outline it back with black pen or marker. And I think I'm going to go ahead and it's all about just kind of getting an outline of where you want to go. So I'm drawing a flower outline. And I may or may not draw an owl or something up here, but I'm going to start with this first. All right, so just to get me started, I'm going to use some paint just so I can get a feel for it. Sometimes when you're looking at a canvas, even when you have this newspaper down, it feels a little bit intimidating because you don't know where to start. So when that happens, for me, I will just go ahead and start. So I've picked Blue Bonnet as my paint. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint the middle part here. So I decided to cover up the word detachment, and I guess I'm going to cover up a little bit of the Psalms too, so we'll have to figure out what to do with that at some point. Now you can make this as filled in as you want. Maybe you want, if you have something that you want the words to shine through, you could maybe water down your paint a little more. But for right now, I'm going to go with this as my base. And I find once I do this, I get really freed up for what I want to do next. Okay. So I think I want to put some polka dots in there. Go with my black paint. Depends on how precise you want to be. Again, still feeling a little hesitant myself about, do I like where this is going? Sometimes I have to breathe a little bit and say, relax, just enjoy the process. So next, I can start to look at my pattern papers and see if I want to use any of them. Really do like that one. Oh, and I like this. I like this orange one too. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to kind of emulate what the flower petal would be like. So again, you can make it as meticulous as you want to. And I'll just start, oh, I love the color. Okay, and I just start, if I like it, I just start to put it around. If you don't like it, then, you know, go and choose another color that speaks to you. I might just go with just those colors, so we'll see. Kind of being mindful again of where I want them to go so that I'm not really so bound to where I put the pencil marks, but more bound to what my heart wants to do with the piece. Some of you probably are very versed on the color wheel. I'm not so much. I really go by how it feels in my heart. But I also see the value of the color wheel, because sometimes I'll look at something and I'll go, I don't know why that's not working, but it's not working. And then I'll show my husband, who actually has gone to art school, and he'll, you know, rattle off some reason about warms and colds and cools, and I go, oh, okay. So there's actually a reason why my eye is not liking what's going on. That's good to know. At least I know my intuition about how things feel when it comes to art is on. And, you know, like I said, I think, you know, at some point it would definitely lend itself for me to learn it more, learn the understanding of the coloring wheel. But I also think it lends value to being able to say without hesitation that anybody can do art. Anybody can be creative. It's not about what's coming out on the paper. It's more about the process that you're going through. All right, so I think I have all the ones that I want to use, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to go back and forth with them. alternating between the colors or if I want to leave them. I think I'm going to alternate. As you can see, one's a little off kilter here, so I might change it. Okay, so now I'm going to Mod Podge those pieces down. All right, so I'll start doing that now. Get the brush that I was using, and the Mod Podge. Get a little closer view of it. So again, the pictures that I show you, it's not really, it is not, let me put that, it's not really, it is not about stealing someone's work. It is about finding inspiration, and sometimes inspiration comes from seeing something else and going, I like this aspect about it, but I want to do this with it. I was just listening to an interview with someone named Austin Kleon, K-L-E-O-N, I think is his last name. He wrote this book called Steal Like an Artist, and it's just wonderful because it frees you up to know, your intention is not about taking someone's art, reproducing it, and basically stealing food out of their mouths, because there are people who do that. This is more about saying, okay, I need a starting point. I don't really know where to start. My heart might be so closed off from the stress of my life or the stress of the day. So I'm just going to use this because I like the colors. I like where he or she is going with it, but I want to put my own twist on it. That type of stealing is totally legitimate and totally useful, and every artist does it. I shouldn't say every artist. Some artists really aspire to say, I don't look at anything. It just comes from my own heart, and I appreciate that because there are times when I'm like that too. But then there are other times where I've come off a long season of handling my dad's estate because he passed away now 2 years ago, and then connecting with my mother who had a stroke a couple years ago. And, all I wanted to do was play and paint, but I had no real sense of what I wanted to do on the canvas. And so I was following my own vice, which is, just sit down and try. Find something that you like and just go from there. So, all right, so I'm really liking where this is going. So next I'm going to do the stem, and I'll do the same steps that I've done before, where I'm going to look through the paper, or I might even try alternating paper with paint. So let's go ahead and get started with that next. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start painting the stem. And I've decided to put it over here a little bit more just because I moved the stems differently and I want to adjust organically to what this painting is showing me. So I'm using this paint called Apple Tart. I'm getting a paintbrush, put the paint on my paint palette, and I have kind of a line there that I want to stay within. But again, I want it to be very organic with what the flower is showing me, which is so funny because I used to hear that before and I'm like, what? The flower's showing you? But now I understand what that means. It's a matter of what looks interesting based on what's already there. So I like that. And this is still just kind of a guide, so I can do anything inside that stem. I was looking at my little stamp here, which is of hearts, and I might even do hearts along there, or maybe do hearts here as the leaf, which just looks really, I think it's going to look super cute. Maybe do that in pink. So I'm picking the bright magenta as my choice. Some people just kind of dip the paint or dip the stamp into the paint. I don't really find that to be very accurate, and maybe it's just the way I'm doing it. So I will take a paintbrush and I will paint gently over, making sure there's not too much paint left on there. It might have been cute also to do this in black hearts, so we'll see which way we'll keep it. And then just press it on there gently. kind of a fun way to do it. Could also put some stripes in to the stem. Just kind of taking it on as in the way that the brush bristles are sitting. So not pressing too hard. Yeah, that's feeling good for me for right now. And so now I can decide to add something else in. So maybe I want to do like a mushroom down here. You see those pictures of those fun mushrooms. So I might do something like that here. Maybe do a couple of them sitting here on the ground. Can also, at this point, use watercolor paint. So I have this tray of watercolor paint that I'll try. And then just maybe use a deep purple. See, I got it a little wet there, a little too wet. So I may have to put something in there to really tie it in, either outline it with black or something like that. All right, so I'm going to keep working with this. I might even put a cloud up there in the top. So you go ahead and keep exploring and keep moving and adding things to it. I also have some stencils here. You could also use a stencil. I have a birdcage stencil that looks super cute. Or if you want to put maybe some brick behind it, that's another fun way to go. All right, so start to play and I'll be back in a few moments. All right, so I've added a little more to this. I put a little cloud in the top, like I was mentioning, and I used some oil pastels to do that. And I decided to outline the hearts that I put into the leaf. And I found this really nice marker. It's the Recollections collection. And what I decided to do is keep that watercolor look. Because as it dries, this is one of the things about, oh my gosh, this is so key to your process. So there are many times when I look at how something looks when it's wet and I hate it and I just want to throw it out. Please, please, please walk away and let it dry and see what you think. Because now I'm in love with what the watercolor looks for the mushroom. For me, I just love the whimsicalness of it. And then I just took a color that that I really like and I outlined it. And as you can see the words God and to live, and in mind, he had not in mind for him to be, but to be joyful. I mean, these are the little moments that just strike a sense of awareness and holiness in my creative process, and I hope is in yours as well. So I'm seeing where this is going, and I'm liking it so far. I'm kind of looking in this area. I don't know yet what I need to do. So for right now, I'm just going to outline it in black and then see where I go from here. So I'm done with the outlining process, and I didn't get too perfect with it. I did outline every little thing, as you can see. But what I decided to do is put these words from the Tim Holtz collection, the words that say "here all along," and then I think I'm going to paint the background.